What times are du'as accepted? Right now you're fasting, the dua of a fasting person is accepted until he breaks his fast. Okay? So that's a hadith in Tirmidhi. When you are making dua by iftar time dua is accepted. So may Allah accept that, make duas at that time. Tahajjud time, third part of the night. One hadith says middle of the night, another hadith, most hadith say third part of the night. Okay, last part of the night, Allah Azza wa Jal from the lowest heaven is calling us, Man yad'uni, who's asking me that I should give them what they want. Man yas'aluni fa'utiya, who is making a request from me that I should fulfill their request. Man yastaghfiruni fa'aghfir lahu, who is seeking my forgiveness, I should forgive them right now. So that's a very good special moment, guys. You're waking up for suhoor, make sure you try and make your du'as at that time. Okay, even if it's outside Ramadan, make a habit of waking up before Fajr and making that dua. That is what probably the best moment in your 24 hours that Allah will answer your call. So when you really want to get a dua answered, wake up at that time and do all of this and make your dua. Honestly, it is the best. Okay, I've done this so many times in my life. I really wanted a dua. You wake up in the last third part of the night, you do your tahajjud, after that you sit in front of Allah, you do all of this, and you know what, subhanAllah, you see results. Okay, in the week, on Friday, it's a special day for our du'as to be accepted. One hadith says from the time the Imam gets to the mimbar till basically he's finished. Another hadith says when it's between the two khutbahs. Another hadith says after he finishes Jum'ah. Another hadith says before he gets onto the mimbar. But most ahadith say on the Friday between Asr and Maghrib, du'as accepted. The closer to Maghrib, the better. But between Asr and Maghrib, generally that whole hour that you've got, that is a very special moment. Or that whole moment between Asr and Maghrib, very special moment to make dua. Allah accepts du'as. If you're traveling, Allah makes du'as. If it's raining, Allah makes du'as. Okay, so now Britain has a purpose. Honestly, I was thinking, why does it rain so much over here? All my life was, why does it rain so much? Now I understand, when you look at the hadith, Allah Azza wa Jal, when it's raining, we've got loads of du'as. Don't curse the rain, bro. Don't say, oh my God, it's whatever outside. No, make dua at that time. Allah's Messenger used to make dua when the rain used to come down. When you hear the adhan, between the adhan and iqamah, Allah accepts dua. So whenever you hear the adhan, between that and the iqamah, make dua. When you finish your fard prayers, many ahadith say that after the fard prayers, Allah accepts du'as. So some scholars have said just before you say the salam, but many have said after you've said the salam, whatever du'as you make, after your fard salah, Allah will accept your du'as. So that's a moment that you don't want to be missed out on making du'as. Okay. When you this is one to be careful of. Okay, if you're a mazloom or one who is oppressed, be careful of oppressing anyone, because the Prophet ﷺ said in various ahadith that the dua of the oppressed goes to Allah without any barriers in between. There's nothing between the oppressed person and Allah Azza wa Jalla in terms of du'as. Now when Allah accepts that, when Allah does that, it's up to Allah. Okay, I do understand there are many oppressed Muslims across the world who are making dua, but please, the general global political situation, landscape, Allah has bigger plans. Okay, and I'm telling you this one thing, brothers and sisters, I know the Muslim Ummah is going through a hard time and we're making du'as, and please make du'as. Alright, none of our du'as just go to waste. As I said to you earlier on, we're always getting something back for our du'as. But let me just tell you this, because I used to sometimes think, right, so we're making so many du'as, these oppressed people are making du'as, how come we don't see a change in the Muslim land? Look, my teachers have been very persistent in saying this, that Allah has a greater plan. Sometimes He'll make the battle be lost for Muslims, but the war will be won over. Sometimes you might lose something small in the short term, but Allah will give you the long term. Just because Yusuf alayhi salam was in the well, he didn't lose everything. Okay, he went from the well, he went to something worse. He went to that minister's house where the wife tried to seduce him. Then he went to something worse than that. He went to prison. Now you're thinking, what? From a well to a place where he was seduced to a prison? And then what happens? Suddenly he comes out of the prison. Then he's the head of, he's the minister of agriculture in the whole of Egypt, in the whole of Misr. Then he's in the king's position. and his brothers come to him. Look at the wonderful story of Yusuf alayhi salam. So don't judge Islam by it going through the wells or going through the prisons, just like Yusuf alayhi salam, or going through whatever it is. Don't judge the Muslims from that episode. Allah has got another episode that's coming. Whether we live or not, we're going to make our du'as, but we will hear of it. I'm telling you this, once you die, when you get to the Day of Judgment, you'll hear that Islam is the one that will become the dominant one. Allah Azza wa Jalla will make that happen. So don't be frustrated in the little moment and say, I remember one sheikh saying this, that he was in Medina Munawwara, okay, and a person was in Medina Munawwara making a dua in the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, saying that, oh Allah, you promised this in the Quran, how come this hasn't happened? What? Yes, Allah's promised that, but the timing of that is up to Allah. Now, the final thing that I'm going to say to you is that a dua of a parent is accepted for their child. So any du'as you make as parents, your du'as are accepted for your children. So even when your children make you angry, make sure good words come to your mouth. You're like, may Allah give you hidayah. May He guide you. Instead of saying you brat, you this, you that, or whatever else, say you wali of Allah. You close servant of God. Right? Get those good words in your mouth, because you don't know which du'as are going to be accepted when.